And the first person I want to bring up is someone kind of like me that had a dream, who got educated as a professional. And you're going to hear about the opportunity, and literally people, if you really apply yourself within 5 years or sooner, you could be free for the rest of your life. So you're going to hear from this young man who started under similar circumstances with a dream, and he's free today. He's a newbie. I'm one of the old legacy guys that, I'm going to introduce our first speaker. So would you please help me bring a warm welcome to TM Elite $1 Million Circle member, Dr. Stephen Moore.
All right. Well, welcome everybody. Thank you, Jeffrey, for the great introduction. For those of you that I haven't met yet, I've been in Nu Skin now for a little bit over 10 years. So I started when I was 14 years old. No, I actually was 27 when I started. And at the time, I had just graduated from chiropractic college. I thought that was the career that I wanted to pursue, to help people, as well as to have a better lifestyle than maybe the average person would. In 1 second here. And so when I graduated from school, I was broke. I was studying for my board exams. I had a job lined up in New York. I was living on credit cards, and 27 years old trying to figure out a way just to pay my bills. I was looking for a way to pay for my apartment, to get out of credit card debt, something temporary for the next 6 months that I could do until I got into practice. But I also needed something that I could fit into the nooks and crannies of my schedule because I was studying for boards, and that's like 50 hours a week, and I didn't need to get distracted from that. And so someone introduced me to Nu Skin actually through an instant message on the internet to look at the biophotonic scanner. He's sitting in the back there, Todd Shapiro. Thank you for introducing me to the business, Todd. And I really didn't want anything to do with it in the beginning. I was intrigued by the technology, but he was so persistent and kept introducing it to me and saying, what do you think about this and what about this? And he started to get me to start to think differently. And I started to think of a possibility not just to make this couple $1,000s a month, but the possibility to have a completely different life. You see, most of us are sold this, a 45-year plan, right? So the blue represents learning. You know, we go to school, if you go to college, you're going to be in college till you're 22. If you're a professional, it's late 20s to maybe even your 30s. And you look here, and then you go work for 45 years, and then hopefully you can retire at 65, right? That's the plan that we all are taught. And so what happens is it's not until you're 65 that you can actually retire and start enjoying life and having a lifestyle, if you've done it right. Now, at 65 years old, 70 years old, 75 years old, I mean, how much more life do you have to really enjoy at that point? And so, I didn't like this. I thought that this was what I was going to have to do, but with Nu Skin, I saw a different possibility that I'm going to show you here. So you have here the 40-year plan. This is all the work. I mean, this is, for me, it would have been waking up before my kids woke up, not even seeing them in the morning. It would have been coming to home after they were asleep. How many of you can relate to that, especially professionals, right? It would be having to say no to those important moments, missing the baseball games, not being able to be there for my wife. If my wife got sick in the middle of the afternoon, I would be seeing patients during that time. And so most of us make this huge sacrifice of 45 years to hopefully retire and have some lifestyle. What I saw with Nu Skin was to compress that, to work really hard for 5 years, and then to have a lifestyle for the rest of my life. I'm not saying retire in 5 years, I'm saying have a lifestyle where you can actually choose when you want to work, when you don't want to work. Not having to listen to a boss, not having to deal with a landlord, not having to deal with patients, not having to deal with anybody else controlling my time. I saw the possibility to be in control in about 5 years. Does that sound like a better plan to you guys? Yes. Much better plan, right? So I started to pursue this. And I decided once I understood that, I realized that I would never have that kind of lifestyle as a chiropractor. I can make a good living, I can enjoy what I'm doing, but at a huge sacrifice of 45 years. And I wanted to compress that. And so I decided to not practice. I came to a meeting, went out to the company headquarters, and there was this feeling that I had where this was something that I just wanted to be part of, and I knew that this was a company that would not ever disappoint me. And in 10.5 years, I have never been disappointed by this company. A lot of it is because of the leadership of Scott here, that you'll get to hear from after I present. And so I decided not to practice, walked away from 9 years of my education. It cost me a lot more money than most of you to start this business. It cost me $201,000. $200,000 for my chiropractic education and $1,000 to get started in this. And I completely walked away because this was a better game plan. This was a better possibility. And so Jeffrey talked about this a little bit. It's this relationship of money and time. As an employee, you don't have either, right? Do you? Right? Does your boss want you to be free? What happens if you do really well and you get bonuses and all that stuff? They make it more difficult. They raise your quota, chop your territory. It's not designed to ever create freedom, because if you're free, then you don't need to work and you don't need that boss and you don't have any pressure on you anymore. So you cannot be free by having an employee, and you cannot be wealthy by being an employee. Would you guys all agree with that? Yes. Okay, very good. So you can have lots of time and no money. You know, you can be a student or be retired typically. Most retired people don't have much money. Go to Publix and you look at who's working on the weekends and at night. Publix is the local grocery store. And it's the high school kids that are out there checking you out and bagging your groceries and all that stuff, right? But who's checking out your groceries when the high school kids are in high school during the week? The old people, the elderly people, the ones that are supposed to be retired that are now working at Publix, beeping things all day long. It's not what they signed up for. So, but hopefully they've got some time freedom, but not typically money. So some people will go off and say, I'm going to go start my business. I want to be my own boss. How many of you have your own business that aren't in Nu Skin? How much freedom do you have having your own business? Probably less freedom than being an employee. And maybe you're not even making that much money. That you got all these overheads, all these attorney stuff to deal with, all these employees, whatever it is. And so having your own business really for a lot of people has created almost a prison sentence for them. And so you look at here, and what we're going to teach you and what I'm going to teach you tonight is a system, a business system. Not just a business to evaluate, but a system that will allow you to have both. A system that's allowed me, as a 27-year-old, brand new college graduate, to just follow a system with no business experience at all and to be able to have an incredible lifestyle because of this business with Nu Skin. So I got this from Paula Ehrlich, who's in the room. Thank you, Paula, for sharing this. This is just another example. This is what most people do. They work 40 hours a week, 50 weeks out of the year. Most people get 2 weeks vacation, maybe 4 weeks, maybe 6 if you're lucky. That's 2,000 hours that most people work in a year. You with me so far? So you do that for 45 years, you've worked 90,000 hours in the course of your life. 90,000 hours. Now you compare that to a business model where you can have some leverage, where you can not just get paid on your efforts, but you can get paid on the efforts of others. That's what big corporations do, right? But for me, I didn't want to deal with employees and all the overhead and the capital investment to do all that, and I have no idea how to run a traditional business. I was never trained on that. I don't want that risk or anything. But if you get 5 people, let's say, to do this business, and they're working, and let's say that those 5 people go get 5 people. How many of you know 5 people that would like to look younger, feel younger, and make more money? Everybody, right? So you get 5, those 5 get 5, you have 25, and as everyone just duplicates that, everyone's just introducing this to 5 people, you'll build a team of over 15,000 people. And those people may start in Florida. I started in California. I knew someone in Florida that knew people in Europe. Someone in Florida knew people in Colombia and Argentina. And now my business, and I've only traveled to Colombia, but my business has grown to almost 20 countries around the world because 5 people knew 5 people and it's scattered all over the place. Wouldn't that be nice to have a global business? Any country you want and get paid in US currency and not have to track that? That's what we're able to do. And so what that would do then is, let's say everyone just worked 4.5 hours a week. Just 4.5 hours. Part-time, building their own dream. That would pay you 90,000 hours of work. not in a week, or not in a lifetime, but this clicker would work, but in a week. Do you see the contrast there of how in this model you've got no chance, and in this model you've got a really good chance? Do you see the difference here? Leverage is an incredible thing when it's working for you. So let me show you what this has done for me and my family. So this is my wife in the middle, my son Maxwell, who's 2.5 years old, and our new son Preston. This is his first presentation that he's in. He's 2 months old. There's a picture of him on the top left. My son and I, Max, he loves coconut water. So we actually go around the neighborhood and cut down the coconuts, and we hack them open and pour the coconut juice off. He loves doing that. You know, he likes listening to music. And over here on the right, these are our old neighbors. Harold, he's 90 years old. And he lived right next to us at our old house, and he was just actually diagnosed with prostate cancer. So we had an opportunity to go and visit him and spend some time with him, and got a chance to see our kids and everything like that, and what a wonderful person, and what a great time we were able to spend with him. Now I can tell you that none of this would have happened if it wasn't for Nu Skin. And I'll tell you why. All of these experiences, all of these memories, all of these moments, all of these pictures happened during the work week, when I would have been seeing patients away from my family. Nu Skin allowed me to be there for those moments, those most important moments, to have those balance. If it wasn't for Nu Skin, this slide would look like this. None of those memories, none of those moments would have ever happened. And you think about how many of you here in the room have had to say no to your family, had to say no to a loved one, weren't able to be there for those moments because you had to show up to work. You had to go build someone else's dream. You had to go do something that you really didn't want to do, or because you were going to get fired, or whatever that reason is. And with Nu Skin, you can have a different possibility. So I wanted to bring that point to you to really realize that you don't have to have your head in the sand. You know, if you experience pain for a long period of time, your brain will actually shut off that pain signal, and you'll no longer really feel it anymore. And a lot of people are living in pain, not pain because they hurt themselves, but financial pain, pain of not having those moments in their lives and not really being able to have control. And so we don't have to have our head in the sand anymore, because we've got a business right now that can change that for people. Whenever you evaluate a business, whether it's this business or another business, there are 5 things that you want to evaluate. For me, it was the science. It was the products and the science first because of my background. But once I saw the science, I wanted to make sure that if I was going to do this, that there was a company that I could trust, that wasn't just some startup company in business for 2 years that has something exciting that's going to crash and burn. I wanted to invite my friends and my family. I wanted to build something for my future. And the only way that I knew I could do that was to have a company I could trust that had a track record like Nu Skin. You need to have trends and timing pushing it forwards. There needs to be compensation, to invest your time into it, right? If this was just about making a couple $1,000s a month, for me, I would not have quit being a physician. But when I saw the potential of this, top distributors making now over $600,000 a year on average, with many making in the millions a year, I said, wow, that is something that I need to kind of pay attention to figure out, how Chris and Carol have made nearly $10 million, I believe. I don't know if you guys have surpassed it yet, but I know you're pretty close there. Now, also being a student at 27, I had no idea how to do this, so I saw there was a system, there were people, there was mentorship to teach me. There's mentorship to teach you, and that is so important, because as a chiropractor, once you get through school, you're kind of on your own, right? You're competing with everybody. Not many people are there to really help you that have an invested interest in you or your success. And with Nu Skin, you've got many people that are interested in helping you. So Nu Skin's a phenomenal company. Scott's going to talk about Nu Skin. I'm going to just highlight a few things here. We're a Forbes top 5 most trustworthy company. We've been the most innovative company, not once, but twice, by the American Business Awards for mid-sized companies. To give you an idea of the significance of that award, Apple Computer was the most innovative large cap company. And right after they got their award, Scott, I think it was you that accepted it. the Stevie Award for innovation. And that innovation was for the biophotonic scanner originally, and then it was for our age-lock science. And because of what's happening now, we're going through, I mean, you want to see a successful company? Here's a company that had $1 billion base of business when I started that has just skyrocketed. Grew by over $1 billion just last year alone. This is a wave that you guys want to jump on because we just came back from our top leadership trip, which was a cruise over in the Mediterranean, and our CEO talked about how we're going to be a $10 billion company by 2020. There is a lot more opportunity right now over the last 7 years than there were for the last 30. We're going to do 3 times the volume in the next 6 years than we did in the last 30 years. So I believe that the people that are new, that are working right now, are going to be the highest paid distributors in our company's history because there's just so much more growth compressed in a shorter amount of time. We're also a company that does a lot of good around the world. We have an initiative called Force for Good. A component of that is Nourish the Children, where we feed starving kids enriched meals so that they can thrive. And what I love about this is, you know, when you're successful, you want to be able to give back to other people, and Nu Skin makes it very easy for us to give back to solve one of the biggest and saddest problems, and that's kids are dying because they're not getting enough food. Here in America, you know, we're dying because we're getting too much food. Isn't that true? 2/3 of us are overweight, 1/3 are obese. You know, I just speaking to an interventional cardiologist that's here, he sees it every single time. He sees those problems of being overfed. So what we can do is help the people that are underfed. Not just underfed, but undernourished. And we can also help the people that are overfed as well, which I'm going to talk about in this presentation. There's a tremendous opportunity for doing both. So when you start to go through here, you start to think about how are you aging? You know, what is your skin looking like? You know, I'm 38 years old right now. And most people don't believe my age. And I intend to kind of keep it looking like this for a very, very long time. Because the sooner you start using these products, the better. I have a picture of Scott from like 6 years ago, and then I have a picture next to him recently, and he's 5 years younger in the more recent picture. It is like really bizarre looking. So you look at your body, what's happening to your body, what's happening to your body fat, your composition, the cellulite, all those other issues. You look at what's happening to your energy levels. Do you get more energy or less energy as you get older? Less energy. Do we like that? No. Do people want more energy? Yes. Okay, so there's an opportunity there, right? You look at your health, what's happening to your health. The anti-aging industry is going to be a $1 trillion industry by 2025. There are not many $1 trillion industries in the world. And this is one of them. This is where money is flowing in the economy. And if you can get in front of a trend, a massive trend like this, you can make a lot of money by just redirecting some of that revenue, some of that business into the network that you create. So you start to look here about the company now. Now this building wasn't here when I got started. This was $100+ million investment in the company for research and development and to support us globally. Major investment. How much did it cost Nu Skin Distributors to build that building? $0. So you can grow this business as fast and wherever you want, and Nu Skin is the one investing in the business. You don't have to worry about undercapitalization or getting loans or any of those things because Nu Skin takes care of all of that difficult stuff so that we can focus on the fun stuff, which is developing business, talking to people, teaching people how to do it. We don't have to get stuck in all the operational stuff that tends to kill most people and most businesses. So we've got over 75 scientists right now. It's the largest R&D department in anti-aging. And what we're able to do, for the first time, we're the only company in the world that is doing this, is we're able to target the sources of aging. Not the symptoms, but the sources. And those sources lie within your DNA. And we now understand why we're aging. We can measure aging on a genetic level, and only us can develop new products to target those genes to reset them back to youth. Nobody else in the world can do that. We've got the exclusive rights to that because of some of these assets that we've acquired. So Pharmanex is our nutraceutical division. It was a $135 million acquisition. You're going to hear from the founder of Pharmanex tomorrow in the general session or the healthcare professional session. He'll be at both of them. You have Nox Technologies, which are developing molecules that can target some of the key sources of aging within your body. Those molecules will start to show up in some of our products in the next several years. You look at the acquisition of LifeGen. Go Google LifeGen. LifeGen has the only research that's been accepted by the scientific community to slow down the aging process. We partnered with them originally, and because of what they're doing and what we're able to do and leverage their research, we acquired that company. We own their 30 years of research. These guys were on 60 Minutes, all over the news on aging. They're the go-to experts. We now own them, all their proprietary technology, and we wanted to block out all the pharmaceutical companies and anyone else from ever gathering this information. And this brand, this ageLOC brand, based off of this science, is already a multi-billion-dollar brand in just a few short years. You then look at the biophotonic scanner. How many of you have been scanned? Okay, if you haven't been scanned, get scanned, monitor that score. In my opinion, it's one of the most important things that you can work on improving. Now, when we started in the business, you guys saw the scanner back there. Joe, can you hold it up so everyone can see it? So, when we started, how many of you know what this is? Does anyone know what this is? Okay, this is the original scanner case that we had to carry around with us to our appointments. We had to bring this as carry-on luggage on the airplanes. Do you know what the TSA, how much they would question us when you try and bring something that's very big like this through that security line? So anyways, that's how we started. You guys have it a lot easier because of Nu Skin, where now everything fits in this. Nu Skin has invested over $100 million in this technology. They are always making things better. They are never satisfied, and because of that, Nu Skin is innovating better than any other company, and that's why our opportunity is becoming better and better and better, much like Apple Computer. In fact, we were started at the same year as Apple, and I believe Scott's going to talk about some of the parallels between Apple Computer and Nu Skin Enterprises. So when you look at the scanner, you're going to have a score. If it's in the red, that's not very good. You don't want to be there. You want to be up in the blue zone. This measures antioxidants in the body. It's the only technology that can do it non-invasively that's been substantiated. We own the exclusive rights to it. This is the reason why I joined the company originally, because I saw that this technology could change the way that we look at health. I believe that we can we've scanned 20 million people, close to 20 million worldwide. We need to scan billions of people. We need to make this a number that everyone knows so that we can start to steer people to a better path of health, so they can be more proactive, they can have more control, they can make better choices. It's much better to know where you are now so you can improve it than wait until a problem occurs later on in life and then it's too late to change it. I wish that somebody would have scanned my sister's mother-in-law, who I just visited a few months ago, because she was diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. She was going through chemo and all that other kind of stuff, and then she finally came to me and says, okay, I want to get scanned. And I scanned her, and she scanned 22,000. She was eating healthy, but 22,000. Now, when I scanned the rest of my sister's family, I have a niece who's is 10 and one is 7. The 7-year-old eats a lot of fruits and vegetables. She scored in the green zone. She was in the 40s. Jenna, who's 10, scanned 22,000. The exact same score as her grandmother, who has stage 4 cancer. Now, I'm not saying that this is diagnostic at all whatsoever. I'm just saying this is a marker of your antioxidant status. And it was a wake-up call to my sister to immediately change the way that they ate. Jenna started eating broccoli for the first time in her life because of this score. Because she's competitive and she wanted to beat her little sister. Now, I wish the scanner was invented 30 years ago. Because the grandmother, who doesn't eat very healthy, who's overweight, I wish someone would have been able to scan her 30 years ago to bring that to her attention so she could have made some changes in her life, and maybe she wouldn't be where she is. We owe it to people that we care about to get them scanned and get their score up. This is a big problem that we have. And so we've got great products here that are actually guaranteed to increase your score. The vitamin market is a $30+ billion market in the United States. Nobody knows what works and what doesn't work. We having a party here with the strobe lights? Yeah. All right. So we'll do the strobe lights later on when we're done. Now, LifePak Nano is a product I put in my body every single day. It's guaranteed to work. My personal score was 31,000. My score is now, it's been as high as 84,000. Now, it was in the 70s, and then Dr. Oz scored 75,000, and I wasn't going to let him beat me. So I started getting organic vegetables delivered to the house, got one of those expensive blenders, and got it up into the 80s. My son, who's 2.5, just scanned 71,000 the other day. 71,000. He loves fruits and vegetables. He eats, he was eating Brussels sprouts the other day. How many 2-year-olds eat Brussels sprouts? Loves that kind of stuff because we introduced it to him early on. His score is very high, and he loves that. So these are products that I put in my body. I actually put all of these products in my body right there, and we have a lot of other products that can help you. And one of them I'm going to talk about here is called Vitality. Now, when I told you about how we acquired LifeGen, what was so significant about this was this database of genetics. So when you're young, your genes essentially look like that. You know, some of them are red and some of them are green. That represents genes that are active and genes that are less active. Without going into the details, because Joe Chang's going to go over it tomorrow, the older expression is that second one there. You can see how it completely reverses. Some genes turn off and some genes turn on. And these are the genes that actually control energy production in the body. So this is why you have less energy. Genetically, we can now measure it. We can see it. We have a signature of what that looks like. And because we have that, and only we have that, it allows us to now screen for ingredients that can actually reset that and restore that natural genetic expression, that natural function back to how it was when you were young. So you can have that energy that you had when you were younger. How many of you are on Vitality? Okay, see? Before Vitality, the hands went up a lot slower. The energy just wasn't there. Now, what this does is not only gives you more energy, but more mental clarity and libido as well. Now, I hear as you get older, libido declines, but this is something, some of you got that, but this is something that can actually reset that and restore that, and that's very good for marriages and even single people too, right? Now, we can apply this science to lots of different tissues in the body, not just energy production, but how the cells purify themselves. We can apply it to skin as well. How many of you would like to know and have a product that can actually target the genes that are related to aging in the skin? Just a few of you? Everybody, right? Because we're pumping in Botox and toxins and these fillers and plastics and all this garbage into our skin. And I believe that if you keep putting toxins into your skin that are so toxic that they paralyze your muscles, because that's what Botox does, it causes dysfunction of your muscles where your muscles don't work anymore because it's toxic. And that's why you don't wrinkle, because you can't even, your muscles are broken. I believe you keep pumping those toxins into your body that actually is going to cause aging over time. So rather than causing dysfunction of your body to try and temporarily look younger, doesn't it make sense to improve the function so that your body can act younger, your genes can act younger, and therefore you can look younger and feel younger? Doesn't that seem like a better approach to improve the function of your body as opposed to causing dysfunction? It makes a lot of sense, and that's what we're able to do for the first time. Sorry if I offended anyone that does Botox, but there are better ways, better approaches now with what we're doing with our age-lock science. So here we have Scott here. We've got this galvanic spa. Now, we haven't had it for a little bit, but it's coming back in October. This was one of our fastest selling products. The FDA actually asked us to go through an approval process. So we just got this device to be FDA cleared. And that will come out in October. We'll be able to sell it again here in the United States. So the opportunity with that device is incredible, because I know a lot of you have just exploded your business when that galvanic spa first came out. We use a very similar technology to target cellulite, body contouring, and things like that, using our age-lock science as well. So like I said, we can take this genetic age-lock science and apply it to different tissues in the body and do things that have never been able to be done before. We're applying it now to weight management. Biggest problem in the world right now. Do you guys know what country has the fastest rate of obesity? It's not ours. It's China. Because McDonald's, KFC, they're eating the stuff we're eating right now, and it is killing them. Obesity is a huge, huge, huge problem. How many of you like to go bowling? How many of you like to admit you go bowling? It's like one of those sports like, well, I guess we could go bowling, right? So, this is a bowling ball. I don't know how much this weighs, but I think it's 16 pounds. Can you hold this bowling ball for me? Is that pretty heavy?
Yes.
How about you? Hold this bowling ball. Okay? You feel comfortable holding it out there like that? How long can you hold it there for? You start to feel it, right, in the muscles? You hold this. So if you're 16 pounds overweight, it's like having an extra bowling ball in your body. You can pass it around if you want, just pass it back over here. What happens if you're 32 pounds overweight? 2 bowling balls. 50 pounds overweight, 3 bowling balls. Can you imagine walking around every single day? You guys can pass it back over here, please. It's just a bowling ball. Nothing special about it. What is that extra weight doing to your heart? Where your heart now has to pump all that extra blood to that tissue. What's that doing to your joints? Carrying these extra bowling balls around. What's it doing to your body? You think it's good to have this extra weight? It's tremendous stress on your body to have a bowling ball or multiple bowling balls. If you guys have 1, 2, 3, or 4 or more bowling balls in your body, you need to drop it. You need to drop the weight. Because it's not good for your body at all whatsoever. Take this seriously because having extra weight will cause a lot of suffering for you and for your family. And we've got a product that can, for the first time, target the genes that are related to metabolism. When you're young, it's real easy to be muscular and fit, and you don't have a lot of fat on your body, right? You can eat almost anything. But when you start to get into your 30s, for most people, things start to change. For me, the last couple years, I've always been a 32-inch waist, never any issues. And all of a sudden, pants are getting a little tight. And when I'm like, okay, these are like uncomfortable when I sit down, I need to get bigger pants. And I got a 33, and I went up to a 34. And I had all these 32-inch pants. All these 32-inch pants, and my wife is like, you need to get rid of these. They're in your closet. I'm like, I'm not a 34. She's like, go ahead, put on the 32s. I can't even button them. I mean, it is like ridiculous what it looks like. And I said, I'm gonna get back into those one day, and I told her not to throw them away. So when TR90 came out, I was never really concerned about my weight at all. It was just kind of, okay, I could just get 34-inch waist pants. But within 3 weeks of going on it, my waist got down to a 32, with really not much effort for me, other than just going on this program. And I'm wearing those pants again, and they're not, you know, this, you can see here, I mean, this suit was tight on me, and now it's like really loose on me. And that weight has maintained. I've been able to keep that fat off my body. I look different, and my clothes fit different, and I know also I'm healthier because of that. And you can be too. This is a huge opportunity. The weight management industry is ginormous. It is huge. And 95% of diets do not work because they not only make you lose fat, but they make you lose muscle. And because of that, it damages your metabolic rate. And when you go off a diet, what happens? The weight comes all right back. And you look worse than when you started because you've lost the muscle. And it's just the fat that comes back, not the muscle. And you do that yo-yo over and over and over again. It's terrible for your body. So what's unique about this program is it can allow your body to get rid of the fat, but keep the muscle on. And that is a completely revolutionary approach to weight management, and we're the only company that can do it because of our age-lock science. The first product launch that we did in October of this, we did over, what was it, $560 million in sales, and we sold out. This is going to be available. It was originally going to be in October of this year, And because of the demand, it's been moved up. It's going to be available, okay, it hasn't been announced yet. I almost slipped there, but July 22nd, you guys are hearing it for the first time. Okay, so you start making a list of all the prospects that have extra bowling balls that don't need them anymore. We can fix that. So we've got a full line of other products as well that target different needs of people. So what people can do is start to redirect all the spending that they're spending elsewhere and now buy it from products that are trusted, products that work, products that have quality control, instead of a lot of the garbage that you buy over the counter and things like that, where most of their money is not spent on research and development or quality ingredients. It's spent on marketing, celebrity endorsements, commercials, full-page ads, and all those Vogue magazines and everything. Do you know how much it costs? How much money other companies spend on advertising? They don't have anything left for research or product quality. If the bottle looks pretty and a celebrity endorses it and they can spend a lot of money to make you want to buy it because of the marketing campaign, then people will buy it. We spend no money on marketing, no money on advertising or anything like that. In fact, that money that we save in advertising goes to you. That's where the commissions come from. And it allows us to spend a lot more money on research and development, product ingredients, that retail companies can't, because they're stuck in a model where they have to spend tens of millions of dollars in marketing and advertising campaigns. We get to save all that money, pay out commissions to you, and produce better quality products. This is where I believe the opportunity is, in a very big way. What Nu Skin is doing is every year they are developing a new product launch. Major products that can expand our business. It essentially creates a ground floor opportunity in front of a very stable company, where the opportunity is always renewing itself, much like Apple Computer is always renewing that opportunity. How many of you are going to get the iPhone 6? Has anyone ever seen it? Why are you going to buy it? Right? Because it's the next best thing. Because you've had the last few iPhones and you love them and you want to upgrade. Well, that's what we're doing with Nu Skin, is we have such a great track record with our products that people are willing to stand in line to buy the products sight unseen before they've even ever come out. Now, what I love about Nu Skin is, unlike Apple that withholds all the information, Nu Skin will start to educate us about a year before a product comes out so we can actually start to tell others about it. And so I talked a little bit about this, where Nu Skin will ship the products directly to the consumer. Highly efficient. There's no waste. There's no advertising dollars. There's no marketing dollars that are wasted unless product is sold. It's an equation where they sell the product and then they pay out the commissions, as opposed to all this money wasted on these marketing campaigns. And that allows us to make a lot of money. Allows us to have a lot of commissions available to us. 44% of every dollar coming into Nu Skin gets paid out to us. And that's why we have over 1,000 people that have made over $1 million in commissions. 2003, these are the average commissions. You know, how many of you would like to build a business, maybe show some people about, anti-aging products, helping people, making a little bit of money on the side? Okay? So that would be an executive level. That's about $5,500 a year. Not a lot of money, but on a very part-time basis, you can pay your car payment, you can go on a nice family vacation, you can start to put money away for retirement, you can start to fund a college education for your kids. You find one person to do it with you, your income on average is going to double. Now, these are regulated by the SEC. These are published in our annual report. How many of you went right to the right over there immediately? 600. Oh, well, these are new numbers. $639,000. It went up $22,000 since last year. Average commissions. There's some people make a lot. These are the C students, $639,000. We have about 1,000 people that are at this blue diamond position within our compensation plan. Some make more, some make less, but the average last year was $639,000. So it all depends on what you want to do. If you want to start this like me, to just make a couple thousand, but I think once I saw a couple thousand, I saw 5 wasn't that far away. And then once I was 5,000 a month, I was like 10,000 is not that far away. And 20,000 is not that far away. And I know 50,000 is not that far away, and 100,000 is not that far away. Because you've got leverage. You've got this multiplication factor that is completely different than linear income. And when you start to experience, you really start to understand the potential of what can happen here. So, We're now creating a new millionaire every 3 days. Every 3 days, someone is surpassing $1 million in commission with over 1,000 people that have achieved that. So the way that you do this is you've got mentorship, you've got a system that you have to follow that's available to you. You're not in this by yourself. You're in this for yourself, but you're there with a team of people that are going to help you. You start to look at these points that we went through, these 5 key factors. Nu Skin hits the mark on every single one, and you start to see our growth chart start to go vertical. This is a company that is making waves around the world right now. So where are you right now? Are you someone that just wants to look young and feel young? How many of you would like to make more money? You got to be more excited for the money part. Usually the money part, there's like screaming and cheering. And how many of you would like both? All right. So how many of you would like your skin to look younger?
Yes.
Okay. How many of you would like more energy? Better body? Look better naked is what we say, right? Better health. So you choose what you're most passionate about, and you start to go on a 90-day program that we have a product that's going to support you in that. So you can become your own testimonial. So people can come up to you and they can see, wow, what have you done? You look 5 years younger. You look 10 years younger. Wow, you're looking slim again. What are you doing? And you can tell them about Nu Skin. So where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? You know, if you're 1, 2, or 3, maybe this isn't for you. This business isn't for anyone. Maybe you know somebody that you can refer to this. But if you're a 6, 7, or higher, what I would recommend doing is just getting started. Because the rest of it, you're going to figure out along the way. As you dive deeper into this, the more you look at Nu Skin, the more you're going to love the company, the more convinced you're going to be on the opportunity. So you just decide to get started, and we'll teach you along the way. We've got some different packages depending on what you want to target, what areas, the skin, the body, energy, or your overall health and nutrition. And if you're interested in being a consumer, you know, you just buy 1 or 2 of those packages and you experience the products and you start there. But if you're interested in doing a business, we recommend getting 3 of those packages because it puts you in a better place in the compensation plan. Even though I was completely broke when I started this, I said, wow, I can position myself better with getting 3 of these packages as opposed to just getting 1. I'm not putting myself in any risk because the company has a buyback policy where if you change your mind, anything that you haven't been able to sell, as long as you haven't opened it, you can return up to a year and get 90% of your money back. Is that fair? Or is there any other business in the world that allows you to do that? So you're not putting yourself at any risk by getting started that way, and that's what I did. We've got some events that are coming up, so talk to the person that invited you here. These events are designed to help you grow your business. We've got trips that you can go on every 6 months. How many of you would like to go on an all-expense-paid trip to Punta Cana? For you and a guest. Just get 4 people to become an executive, and you're there. And as you grow the business, every 6 months, there's a new and exciting trip for you to go on. So you go back to this. This is my why. I didn't know my wife back then when I started this, but I knew what I wanted my life to look like. I had a vision, I had a goal of a better lifestyle. And Nu Skin has filled in that slide that would have been completely empty if it wasn't for this opportunity. You guys can fill in those blank spaces in your life, those missing pieces, so that you can enjoy life more, you can have fun, you can be part of a team, and you can keep moving forward. So thank you very much, everybody. We hope you get started this week.
All right, thank you very much.